Okay, guys, welcome back to the Adventure Media Podcast. I'm Trent,
I'm Christian.
and we are on check-in day of Unreal. I almost said it wrong. Unreal Adventure 2024. We have already done the driver's meeting. Everybody has been teched in and everything, and we have with us Mike Day. Mike is the guy that has probably one of the most interesting vehicles that I think we picked this trip. It is a BMW X5.
Yep.
Christian and I were talking. I don't think I've ever seen any one of these on a dirt road, let alone like on a trail.
Yeah, they're
Rock
not
crawl trail.
common out there. We did some development with some basic stuff just to see how that product line would go and kind of feel it out. And it's interesting what they're capable of as they are, but I wanted something different. That's where we wound up.
You got that.
So let's back it up a little bit. I guess your connection to BMW is maybe a little bit deeper than the standard guys.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
I've been doing BMW stuff since my first car. So
Okay.
I'm in 20 years now of playing with BMWs in a variety of different ways. Really, like 80s, 90s BMWs are like the key to my heart.
Okay.
But like SUV wise, this is the first one they did. And this is kind of like the sweet spot, in my opinion, for BMWs. It's like when they were striving for the ultimate driving machine was their like sales slogan, and they put a ton of effort into the vehicle. They're really cool. They have their quirks and flaws, but like obviously they weren't meant for this, but this is kind of where I wanted it to go.
So at what point are you like, I'm going to make a big badass rock crawler out of an X5?
Well, it started simpler than that. Like way back in the day, I was a tech while I was going through college, and I had a second gen 4Runner that I solid axle swapped on 38s, and it was a pile of shit, honestly. Like it was rotted out, terrible, and I didn't really know what I was doing either. It was a great learning experience, but one of those generations X5 came in with a dead trans, and the people didn't want to fix it, so they like kind of exchanged it to the shop for the bill kind of thing.
Oh.
And I was like, man, it'd be sweet to just throw the good parts of my 4Runner under one of those. And it didn't happen then, but it's been kicking around for 15 years since, and I finally had the opportunity to do it. And it's a bit more grand than I originally thought, but
Interesting.
yeah, that's kind of how the whole thing came to be.
Okay. All right. Well, the fabrication on this thing is like next level. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. Where did you learn those skills?
I'm self-taught fabrication wise. So
really?
Yeah. Yep. I'm a mechanical engineer, but I've always been playing with stuff, cutting it apart, welding it back together, trying to figure things out. And yeah, I'm self-taught, TIG and all that.
Do you use like CAD or any kind of program?
Yep.
Did you bend software?
I didn't for the cage or anything, but like earlier on when I was designing like the suspension geometry and laying out the motor mounts and all that, I 3D scanned the whole body and designed it all in SolidWorks and had everything laser cut to fit the body. So all the plate work is designed to fit where it does. The motor mounts keyed in with little tabs and slots, because it looks like everything fits now, but to keep it as low as it is the way I wanted to, everything's basically touching almost all the time. So trying to get it so everything was dialed and everything cycled correctly was.
You're saying it's a little tight in there.
It's cozy for sure.
It's cozy.
Yeah, cozy is a great word for it. But the steering's almost up against everything. Like the axle comes up to just about the oil pan. Everything's very tight, but it all fits now.
Okay. Have you wheeled the thing a lot?
Not as much as I would like. I've had a couple teething issues, but a handful this summer getting it sorted out. And like I went to SEMA last year, which wasn't the goal for it, but I had a couple sponsors on board and they're like, hey, can you bring it? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. I'll make the push to do that. And then on the way back, I spent 3 days in Moab with it, kind of shaking out some of the quirks to it and dialing it in a little bit. I had some link pushing failures and stuff that were somewhat my own doing, and I've resolved that and I've been working through it since. And yeah, it's got a handful of miles on it. I actually drove it to Maine last weekend and just as a shakedown before here.
Wow.
So Maine, a 14-hour trip for a family vacation and back.
Okay. So we forgot to ask, where are you based?
Ohio, Northeast Ohio.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Ohio to Maine. Even Massachusetts to Maine's a big trip.
Yep. So yeah, my co-driver, who should be arriving shortly, he's had some flight issues on the way here, trying to sort that out. He lives in New Hampshire, so on the way out there, did some trail runs in New Hampshire with them, trying to make sure we're both comfortable with it, make sure all the funny noises that we think are there are the ones we think they are, and getting everything sorted out and dialed. So it's been pretty good. Other than yesterday, like I unloaded it from the trailer, made it probably 4 or 5 hours, and the fuel pump died. And I've been kind of chasing that it's hard to catch, and I haven't had the temperatures to catch it until I got out here.
Yeah.
So that's why I caught that last night.
Take temperatures. And
Yeah, I
dude,
tried
you're
my
already
best.
in Ohio.
And
Well,
we've talked to we've said BMW, we've said X5, but it occurs to me we haven't actually give us just the quick and dirty rundown of what this thing has in it.
So the motor is it's an LS, but a 408 stroker from Texas Speed. It's got a 6L80 behind it, and then a 203 205 doubler setup from Offroad Design, and then it's like the 05 plus Dana 60s under it, and 3-link front and rear. So
Coilovers,
yep, coilovers all around with triple bypasses and the air bumps. And
what kind of management are you using for the engine and
it's stock
transmission?
Gen 4 ECU stuff.
Okay.
So
Nice.
because when I was doing it, there was no support for the 6L80. So
Yeah.
Holly came out with it like the week after.
Oh.
So
sweet, thanks, Holly.
but I understand that's a little difficult.
Let GM
too,
spend millions doing the R&D.
Exactly.
Okay,
That
why
was
not?
kind of my thinking. Is
Yeah.
they have it pretty
totally.
dialed. You can find people that tune these things every day and like find support for it. So that's really what I was looking for, is something reliable and capable that I can take on big road trips, kind of like this, and have a blast with.
Nice.
Find spare parts.
So what thing did you put in that car? Sorry, we'll get to that. We have to discuss that too. Like, people get on our case for calling it car.
Yeah,
Instead of truck or
it's a very
4x4.
West Coast thing. So,
Yeah.
so I don't know. I mean, I don't know about in Ohio, but like out west, off-road cars are cars. They're just
That's
cars.
fair.
So
And
we'll dive into that. I don't want to
Yeah,
get too far
that
away
is-
from my
yeah.
question.
yeah.
My question was, what one thing did you put in there when you were packing that you thought, I would never think to bring this on any off-road trip I was bringing?
Ooh, I don't know.
Was there like one thing you're like, I better bring the crossbow? You never know. Might
Not
find a
stuff
vampire.
like that, but I have I did pack like my extractor set and like the ball joint press tools and stuff.
Okay,
just
yeah,
kind of as like
yeah.
a lucky charm to hopefully not be there.
Right.
That was really
Yeah,
the thing.
Murphy's Law. If you didn't
If
have
you
it, you
need
would
it, if you don't have it, or if you have it, you won't need it.
Exactly.
If you don't have it, you'll need it.
Right.
Yeah,
So
for
like
sure.
all the goofy like AN adapters for different things that are
That's
on it.
super smart.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
ordered spares of all those, so I have them all in a bin.
That's
that way,
super smart.
because where do you find that stuff?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's
Well,
the trouble.
and there's a good strong chance somebody else might need some of that random
Exactly,
stuff
that
or
too.
whatever. So yeah, no,
Yep.
that's super smart.
Yeah.
So, what got you into four-wheeling in the first place?
That's a great question. I don't really know, but like I'm into any aspect of motorsports. I do a bunch of drifting. I have
That's
a
why I
stage rally
asked, 'cause,
car.
Yeah,
so, like,
you sounds like you're in a lot of different aspects
yeah,
of motorsports.
and that's
so.
what I do professionally. Is I design performance parts for BMWs and
Okay.
a bunch of different European makes. So like I've been in this world a while. It's my passion. It's what I'm excited about, and learning all the different nuances of any motorsport. Really, they all apply to each other. So like even
Yeah.
off-road things apply to street car stuff.
Oh, sure.
And like dirt bike stuff applies. Like it. I don't
Well,
know.
and-
I feel
and
like
those-
there's so much crossover. It's
Those
valuable.
I was gonna say, well, and those genres can learn so much from one another,
yeah.
and there's not a ton of crossover. There's not a ton of you
I know.
out there.
And
And
I feel like
so-
there should be. Like you should
Yeah,
dabble
yeah.
in all these different things and understand the differences and be like, man, drift cars always do this, and it'd be sweet to put that in an off-road thing, or vice
Yeah,
versa.
yeah.
And a
Totally.
bunch of different aspects to it.
That's
that-
kind of what was going on in the early days of the rock crawling championships, like in the late 90s, early 2000s. Like they were just grabbing technology from wherever they could find it.
Yeah,
Some
yeah.
of it worked, some of it didn't. But
you don't know
I
until
mean,
you try.
Yeah, you have to be into like all those things, and they just take the best elements of each one of those things you're into.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly.
What else? We already talked about what. Have you ever been in this part of the country before? Have you ever wheeled in this part of the country before?
No, I haven't. No.
What do you? What are? Obviously, you have. There's probably some expectation in your mind of what you're going to encounter this week. I'm kind of curious. Do you have any sort of an idea?
I guess the biggest difference to me is that I've always heard, like I grew up Northeast Wheeling. That's where I grew up. So
lot more mud
a lot
and-
more mud, a lot of slipperier rocks, that type of thing. So seeing what the grippy stuff is like, everybody has always said is the grippy rocks. I don't know. I've been to Moab once for a couple days, and that was a game changer in terms of what
Okay.
I thought it would
Yeah.
be. So
This is going to be an education this week.
I'm
if you
sure
haven't
it will
spent-
be.
If
Yeah.
you haven't spent, yeah. Stay off the skinny pedal.
okay.
Or don't.
There's more traction, yeah, or don't. But
That
yeah,
was stickies too. I've never had that, but like anything like that.
Oh
So
yeah,
I
those
don't even
Milestar
understand.
black labels. Are,
Yeah.
they'll grab.
Right.
For sure.
So it's going to be a lot of learning.
nice. Nice. Right on.
And
Well,
I've also never had it this loaded down too. I've been kind of tweaking the suspension in hindsight, just like on the street, like, oh wow, I put a bunch of gear in the back now. This is different. So,
yeah, for sure. Right on. Well, Mike, thank you so much.
Oh, of course.
Thanks for coming out. Thanks for making the trip all the way out
Thanks
here.
for having me. Like,
I personally, like, it was probably one of my the vehicle I was most excited about seeing. You know what I mean?
I think you're not alone.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there,
and there's
who
a
are
lot
very
of people.
excited.
There have been, I don't know if you've checked out our YouTube channel, but
I
there
have,
has been a ton of people who are like, that X5 is sick,
Yeah.
and everything. Hope it still looks like that at the end of the week. And I'm like, I'm right there with you.
I'm excited to see
We'll
that
see.
people are excited about it, not just like, why'd you build this weird thing? So, I put a bunch of effort into it, and I want to try it.
There you
Yeah,
go.
see
Well,
what it does.
last question. If you bend the thing, are you going to be like, or is it going to be like heartbreaking?
No,
or...
that's what it's for.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's
Good
to be
attitude.
used.
That's the right answer right there.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
Right on. All right, guys. That was Mike. He is the second of 6 returning readers this year on Unreal Adventure. We're going to catch you next time. Thank you so much.